Remember when boy bands were a relic of the 80s and 90s that were looked upon with equal parts shame and awkward laughter? I do. However, they have somehow managed to resurface with one boy band in particular taking the world by storm and amassing a sizable legion of female fans across the globe. Like many other popular artists over the past few years, it was only a matter of time before they were given the concert documentary treatment. And if you haven't guessed already, no, I am not a fan of One Direction, so it should be painfully clear that I am not part of the audience this film is intended for. That said, let's begin this episode of Romney's Reviews. Now this film comes to us from Morgan Spurlock. Yes, the same Morgan Spurlock who gorged on McDonald's for 30 days, as well as funded a film about product placement solely with product placement. That said, one thing that I can definitely say is that Spurlock's style of filmmaking is greatly subdued in this film. I mean, if you've seen Super Size Me and Greatest Movie Ever Sold, you can tell that he has a very unique style to it, and there are shades of that style in this documentary. But given that this is essentially a commercial to promote the band and promote whatever CD or concert or something, then it makes sense to kind of have the documentarian style subdued, because that could kind of negate the purpose of what the company funding the documentary is hoping for. At the very least, the documentary segments are well produced and actually do a good job carrying the film, with the sentimental moments being the strongest. However, there were parts in it that felt kind of staged, and I don't mean the usual stage where they were like given lines and stuff, but kind of the reality TV equivalent of staging, where they just say, okay, we're gonna send these two people to this location and then we'll record what goes on over there. They do the same thing on stuff like Jersey Shore, or really any reality TV show, where they take two people who obviously like react to each other in a certain way and just place them in a setting. It's like your typical sitcom. And really, there were a couple moments like that throughout the film, which felt a little too perfect. When it comes to the concert segments of the film, there's not really all that much to say. It's basically just live concert footage that was shot in 3D, with some added 3D visual effects to kind of cater to the 3D viewers that are watching it in the theater. Now, some of the effects worked with kind of the style of the concert and everything, but there are a few numbers in particular where it wasn't so strong, particularly during this segment where you're hearing their cover of Teenage Dirtbag. For some reason, they decided to go with a comic book motif, which sounded like an interesting idea, but having like the cuts to like the Alex Ross inspired like comic book drawing / digital paintings of them in like comic book like settings, well, they're too quick. You don't really get to see them long enough to really look at them and appreciate them. It's just a case of the cuts are too quick in order to kind of keep with the flow of the concert. And really, if you weren't really going to be able to look at them, you really shouldn't even put them in the film at all. On the whole, this is a decent film. Does it push the boundaries of documentary filmmaking? No. All in all, it's your formulaic concert documentary film. A well-produced one, but not really something worth rushing out to see unless you're already a fan of One Direction, which is the film's target audience. Beyond that, there's not much appeal for the film on its own. For this reason, I'm not going to assign it a rating. Most of the people who would be interested in seeing this documentary have pretty much already decided that they're going to go see it, because this is for fans of One Direction. And that's pretty much it. People who aren't fans of the group probably won't get that much out of it and are probably going to pass it over, like they passed over the other concert documentary films that Morgan Spurlock has been attached to direct. So really, there's no point in me giving it a rating. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. As for next week, I will be taking a look at Getaway. Insert Arrested Development boy band joke here. I'll see you all next week.